Shalom Ashpika. Thank you for joining me on my YouTube channel, Tina Ali Shaba. Today, I'm excited to share with you that we are starting a new book, which is the book of Jasher, or also known as the Cepher of Yashar. And I'm going to be reading this out of the Cepher Bible. And just to kind of give you a little backstory with this, this is one of my favorite books. And those of you who've been following me on the channel know I say every book and every chapter is my favorite book or chapter. I know that I just have like a really deep love for the word, and it's just been a blessing to me, and it's obviously changed my life. But what I love about the book of Jasher specifically is it's given me the backstory to the first 5 books of the traditional Bible, from Genesis to Deuteronomy as example. And I'm the type of person, when I do read, I have questions, or I'll say mental note, or let me put a pen in that. And this book has not only filled in the gaps and made things make sense, but also those of us who are descendants of the slave diaspora, and also known as, we are the descendants of the tribes of Israel, or Yasharal. This also lets us know too, with like books like the book of Jasher or Enoch, some of these books that have been taken out of the traditional Bible, or also known as Apocrypha, it lets us know who we are and why it was important to take those books out, because it hides our identity without it. And fortunately, who has waken us up to know who we are in Him, not only through the traditional Bible, but also when we read books from the Apocrypha, as an example. It gives us even a deep dive into not only our relationship with Yah, but in this case, like even with the book of Jasher, the supernatural abilities that our forefathers had as a result of walking with Yahuwah in righteousness, and really honoring Him and serving Him only, versus no other Elohim, as the covenant was made to do that. And so this book just really does that for me. And I pray that those of you who have read it, it's just, you're excited to hear it again or read it again. And if you're new to this book or this Cepher, that those questions you may have had as you've read the traditional Bible, that they're answered as a result of listening to these chapters. So without further ado, if you haven't already, grab your Cepher to follow along. Now let's get started. Chapter 1. And Yahuwah said, "Let us make man in our image, after our likeness." And Yahuwah created man in His image. And Yahuwah formed man from the ground, and He blew into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living soul endowed with speech. And Yahuwah said, "It is not good for the man to be alone. I will make unto him a helpmeet." And Yahuwah caused a deep sleep to fall upon Adam, and he slept, and He took away one of his ribs, and He built flesh upon it, and formed it, and brought it to Adam. And Adam awoke from his sleep, and behold, a woman was standing before him. And he said, "This is a bone of my bones, and it shall be called woman, for this has been taken from man." And Adam called her name Chua, for she was the mother of all living. And Yahuwah blessed them, and called their names Adam and Chua in the day that He created them. And Yahuwah said, "Be fruitful and multiply and fill the earth." And Yahuwah took Adam and his woman, and He placed them in the garden of Eden to dress it and to guard it. And He commanded them and said unto them, "From every tree of the garden you may eat, but from the tree of knowledge of good and evil you shall not eat. For in the day that you eat thereof, you shall surely die." And when Yahuwah had blessed and commanded them, he went from them. And Adam and his woman dwelt in the garden according to the command which Yahuwah had commanded them. And the serpent which Yahuwah had created with them in the earth came to them to incite them to transgress the command of Yahuwah, which he commanded them. And the serpent enticed and persuaded the woman to eat from the tree of knowledge. And the woman hearkened to the voice of the serpent, and she transgressed the word of Yahuwah, and took from the tree of knowledge of good and evil, and she ate. And she took from it, and gave also to her man, and he ate. And Adam and his woman transgressed the command of Yahuwah, which he commanded them, and Yahuwah knew it. And his anger was kindled against them, and he cursed them. And Yahuwah drove them that day from the garden in Eden to till the ground from which they were taken, and they went and dwelt at the east of the garden of Eden. And Adam knew his woman Chua, and she bore 2 sons and 3 daughters. And she called the name of the firstborn Cain, saying, I have obtained a man from Yahuwah. And the name of the other she called Havel. For she said, in vanity we came into the earth, and in vanity we shall be taken from it. And the boys grew up, and their father gave them a possession in the land, and Cain was the tiller of the ground, and Havel a keeper of sheep. And it was at the expiration of a few years that they brought an approximating offering to Yahuwah, and Cain brought from the fruit of the ground, and Havel brought from the firstlings of his flock, from the fat thereof. And Yahuwah turned and inclined to Havel and his offering, and a fire came down from Yahuwah from heaven, and consumed it. And unto Cain and his offering Yahuwah did not turn, and he did not incline to it, for he had brought from the inferior fruit of the ground before Yahuwah. And Cain was jealous against his brother Havel on account of this, and he sought a pretext to slay him. And in some other time after, Cain and Havel his brother went one day into the field to do their work. And they were both in the field, Cain tilling and plowing his ground, and Havel feeding his flock. And the flock passed that part which Cain had plowed in the ground, and it sorely grieved Cain on this account. And Cain approached his brother Havel in anger, and he said unto him, What is there between me and you, that you come to dwell and bring your flock to feed in my land? And Havel answered his brother Cain, and said unto him, What is there between me and you, that you shall eat the flesh of my flock, and clothe yourself with their wool? And now therefore put off the wool of my sheep, with which you have clothed yourself, and recompense me for their fruit and flesh which you have eaten. And when you shall have done this, I will then go from your land, as you have said. And Cain said to his brother Havel, Surely if I slay you this day, who will require your blood from me? And Havel answered Cain, saying, Surely Yahuwah, who has made us in the earth, he will avenge my cause, and he will require my blood from you, should you slay me. For Yahuwah is the judge and arbiter, and it is he who will requite man according to his evil, and the wicked according to the wickedness that he may do upon earth. And now, if you should slay me here, surely Yahuwah knows your secret views, and will judge you for the evil which you did declare to do unto me this day. And when Cain heard the words which Havel his brother had spoken, behold, the anger of Cain was kindled against his brother Havel during this thing. And Cain hastened and rose up, and took the iron part of his plowing instrument, with which he suddenly smote his brother, and he slew him. And Cain split the blood of his brother Havel upon the earth, and the blood of Havel streamed upon the earth before the flock. And after this Cain repented, having slain his brother, and he was sadly grieved, and he wept over him, and it vexed him exceedingly. And Cain rose up and dug a hole in the field, wherein he put his brother's body, and he turned the dust over it. And Yahuwah knew what Cain had done to his brother. And Yahuwah appeared to Cain and said unto him, Where is Havel your brother that was with you? And Cain disassembled and said, I do not know. Am I to guard my brother? And Yahuwah said unto him, What have you done? The voice of your brother's blood cries unto me from the ground where you have slain him. For you have slain your brother, and have disassembled before me, and did imagine in your heart that I saw you not, nor knew all your actions. But you did this thing, and did slay your brother for naught, and because he spoke rightly to you. And now, therefore, cursed be you from the ground which opened its mouth to receive your brother's blood from your hand, and wherein you did bury him. And it shall be, when you shall till it, it shall no longer give you its strength as in the beginning, for thorns and thistles shall the ground produce, and you shall be moving and wandering in the earth until the day of your death. And at that time Cain went out from the presence of Yahuwah, from the place where he was, and he went moving and wandering in the land toward the east of Eden, he and all belonging to him. And Cain knew his woman in those days, and she conceived and bore a son, and he called his name Enoch, saying, In that time Yahuwah began to give him rest and quiet in the earth. And at that time Cain also began to build a city, and he built the city, and he called the name of the city Enoch, according to the name of his son, for in those days Yahuwah had given him rest upon the earth, and he did not move about and wander as in the beginning. And Irad was born to Enoch, and Irad begot Mechcuyael, and Mechcuyael begot Methushael, and Methushael begot Lamech. Chapter 2. And it was in the 113th year of the life of Adam upon the earth that he knew again Chua his woman, and she conceived and bore a son in his likeness and in his image, and she called his name Sheth, saying, Because Yahuwah has appointed me another seed in the place of Havel, for Cain has slain him. And Sheth lived 105 years, and he begat a son, and Sheth called the name of his son Enoch, saying, Because in the time the sons of men began to multiply, and to afflict their souls and hearts by transgressing and rebelling against Yahuwah. And it was in those days of Enoch that the sons of men continued to rebel and transgress against Yahuwah, to increase the anger of Yahuwah against the sons of men. And the sons of men went, and they served other Elohim, and they forgot Yahuwah who had created them in the earth. And in those days the sons of men made images of brass and iron, wood and stone, and they bowed down and served them. And every man made his Elohim, and they bowed down to them. And the sons of men forsook Yahuwah all the days of Enoch and his children. And the anger of Yahuwah was kindled on account of the works and abominations which they did in the earth. And Yahuwah caused the waters of the river Gishon to overwhelm them, and he destroyed and consumed them. And he destroyed the third part of the earth. And notwithstanding this, the sons of men did not turn from their evil ways, and their hands were yet extended to do evil in the sight of Yahuwah. And in those days there was neither sowing nor reaping in the earth, and there was no food for the sons of men, and the famine was very great in those days. And the seed which was sowed in those days in the ground became thorns, thistles, and briars. For from the days of Adam was the declaration concerning the earth, of the curse of Yahuwah, which he cursed the earth on account of the sin which Adam sinned before Yahuwah. And it was when men continued to rebel and transgress against Yahuwah, and to corrupt their ways, that the earth also became corrupt. And Enoch lived 90 years, and he begat Kenan. And Kenan grew up, and he was 40 years old, and he became wise, And he had knowledge and skill in all wisdom, and he reigned over all the sons of men. And he led the sons of men to wisdom and knowledge. For Canaan was a very wise man, and had understanding in all wisdom, and was with wisdom. He ruled over Ruachoth and devils. And Canaan knew by his wisdom that Yahuwah would destroy the sons of men for having sinned upon the earth, and that Yahuwah would in the latter days bring upon them the waters of the flood. And in those days Canaan wrote upon tablets of stone what was to take place in time to come, and he put them in his treasures. And Canaan reigned over the whole earth, and he turned some of the sons of men to the service of Yahuwah. And when Canaan was 70 years old, he begot 3 sons and 2 daughters. And these are the names of the children of Canaan. The name of the firstborn, Mahathel, and the second, Enan, and the third, Marad, and their sisters, Adah and Zillah. These are the 5 children of Canaan that were born to him. And Lamech, the son of Methushael, became related to Canaan by marriage, and he took his 2 daughters for his women. And Adah conceived and bore a son to Lamech, and she called his name Yavel. And she again conceived and bore a son, and called his name Yuval. And Zillah, her sister, was barren in those days, and had no offspring. For in those days the sons of men began to transgress against Yahuwah, and they transgressed the commandments which he had commanded to Adam, to be fruitful and multiply in the earth. And some of the sons of men caused their women to drink a draught that would render them barren, in order that they might retain their figures, and whereby their beautiful appearance might not fade. And when the sons of men caused some of their women to drink, Zillah drank with them. And the childbearing women appeared abominable in the sight of their men as widows, while their men lived, for to the barren ones only they were attached. And in the end of the days and years, when Zillah became old, Yahuwah opened her womb, and she conceived and bore a son, and called his name Tubal-Cain, saying, After I had withered away, I have obtained him from Yahuwah. And she conceived again and bore a daughter, and she named her name Naamah, for she said, After I have withered away, I have obtained pleasure and delight. And Lamech was old and advanced in years, and his eyes were dim that he could not see. And Tubal-Cain his son was leading him, and it was one day that Lamech went into the field, and Tubal-Cain his son was with him. And while they were walking into the field, Cain the son of Adam advanced towards them. For Lamech was very old and could not see much, and Tubal-Cain his son was very young. And Tubal-Cain told his father to draw his bow, and with the arrows he smote Cain, who was yet far off, and he slew him, for he appeared to them to be an animal. And the arrows entered Cain's body, although he was distant from them, and he fell to the ground and died. And Yahuwah requited Cain's evil action towards his wickedness, which he had done to his brother Havel, according to the word of Yahuwah, which he had spoken. And it came to pass, when Cain had died, that Lamech and Tubal-Cain went to see the animal which they had slain. And they saw, and behold, Cain their grandfather was fallen dead upon the earth. And Lamech was very much grieved at having done this, and in clapping his hands together, he struck his son and caused his death. And the women of Lamech heard what Lamech had done, and they sought to kill him. And the women of Lamech hated him from that day, because he slew Cain and Tubal-Cain. And the women of Lamech separated from him, and would not hearken to him in those days. And Lamech came to his women, and he pressed them to listen to him about this matter. And he said to his women, Adah and Zillah, Hear my voice, O women of Lamech, attend to my words, for now you have imagined and said that I slew a man with my wounds, and a child with my stripes, for their having done no violence. But surely know that I am old and gray-headed, and that my eyes are heavy through age. And I did this thing unknowingly. And the women of Lamech listened to him in this matter, and they returned to him with the advice of their father Adam. But they bore no children to him from that time, knowing that Yahuwah's anger was increasing in those days against the sons of men, to destroy them with the waters of the flood for their evil doings. And Mahalalel, the son of Canaan, lived 65 years, and he begot Yared. And Yared lived 62 years, and he begot Canak. Chapter 3. And Canak lived 65 years, and he begot Methuselah. And Canak walked with Yahuwah after having begot Methuselah, and he served Yahuwah, and despised the evil ways of men. And the soul of Canak was wrapped up in the instruction of Yahuwah, in knowledge and in understanding. And he wisely retired from the sons of men, and secreted himself from them for many days. And it was at the expiration of many years, while he was serving Yahuwah and praying before him in his house, that an angel of Yahuwah called to him from heaven. And he said, Here I am. And he said, Rise, go forth from your house, and from the place where you do hide yourself, and appear to the sons of men, in order that you may teach them the way in which they should go, and the work which they must accomplish to enter into the ways of Yahuwah. And Canak rose up according to the word of Yahuwah, and went forth from his house, and from his place, and from the chamber in which he was concealed. And he went to the sons of men, and taught them the ways of Yahuwah. And at that time assembled the sons of men, and acquainted them with the instruction of Yahuwah. And he ordered it to be proclaimed in all places where the sons of men dwelt, saying, Where is the man who wishes to know the ways of Yahuwah and good works? Let him come to Canak. And all the sons of men then assembled to him, for all who desired this thing went to Canak, and Canak reigned over the sons of men according to the word of Yahuwah. And they came and bowed to him, and they heard his word. And the Ruach Yahuwah was upon Canak, and he taught all his men the wisdom of Yahuwah and his ways. And the sons of men served Yahuwah all the days of Canak, and they came to hear his wisdom. And all the kings of the sons of men, both first and last, together with their princes and judges, came to Canak when they heard of his wisdom. And they bowed down to him. And they also required of Canak to reign over them, to which he consented. And they assembled in all 130 kings and princes, and they made Canak king over them, and they were all under his power and command. And Canak taught them wisdom, knowledge, and the ways of Yahuwah. And he made peace amongst them, and peace was throughout the earth during the life of Canak. And Canak reigned over the sons of men 243 years. And he did justice and righteousness with all his people, and he led them in the ways of Yahuwah. And these are the generations of Canak: Methuselah, Elisha, Elimelech, 3 sons, and their sisters were Melchah and Naamah. And Methuselah lived 87 years, and he begat Lamech. And it was in the 56th year of the life of Lamech when Adam died. 930 years old was he at his death, and his 2 sons, with Canak and Methuselah his son, buried him with great pomp, as a burial of kings, in the cave which Yahuwah had told him. And in that place all the sons of men made a great mourning and weeping on account of Adam. It has therefore become a custom among the sons of men to this day. And Adam died because he ate of the tree of knowledge, he and his children after him, as Yahuwah had spoken. And it was in the year of Adam's death, which was 243rd year of the reign of Enoch. In that time Enoch resolved to separate himself from the sons of men, and to secret himself as at first in order to serve Yahuwah. And Enoch did so, but did not entirely secret himself from them, but kept away from the sons of men 3 days, and then went to them for 1 day. And during the 3 days that he was in his chamber, he prayed to and praised Yahuwah. And the day on which he went and appeared to his subjects, he taught them the ways of Yahuwah. And all they asked him about Yahuwah, he told them. And he did in this manner for many years. And afterward he concealed himself for 6 days, and appeared to his people 1 day in 7, and after that once in a month, and then once in a year, until all the kings, princes, and sons of men sought for him, and desired again to see the face of Enoch, and to hear his word. But they could not, as all the sons of men were greatly afraid of Enoch, and they feared to approach him on account of the Elohim-like awe that was seated upon his countenance. Therefore no man could look at him, fearing he might be punished and die. And all the kings and princes resolved to assemble the sons of men, and to come to Enoch, thinking that they might all speak to him at the time when he should come forth against them, and they did so. And the day came when Enoch went forth, and they all assembled and came to him. And Enoch spoke to them the words of Yahuwah, and he taught them wisdom and knowledge. And they bowed down before him, and they said, May the king live. May the king live. And then sometime after, when the king and princes and the sons of men were speaking to Enoch, and Enoch was teaching them the ways of Yahuwah, behold, an angel of Yahuwah then called unto Enoch from heaven, and wished to bring him up to heaven to make him reign there over the sons of Yahuwah, as he had reigned over the sons of men upon earth. When at that time Enoch heard this, he went and assembled all the inhabitants of the earth, and taught them wisdom and knowledge, and gave them divine instructions. And he said to them, I have been required to ascend into heaven. I therefore do not know the day of my going. And now therefore I will teach you wisdom and knowledge, and will give you instruction before I leave you, how to act upon earth, whereby you may live. And he did so. And he taught them wisdom and knowledge, and gave them instruction, and he reproved them, and he placed before them commandments and judgments to do upon earth, and he made peace amongst them, and he taught them everlasting life, and dwelt with them, some teaching them all these things. And at that time the sons of men were with Enoch, and Enoch was speaking to them. And they lifted up their eyes, and the likeness of a great horse descended from heaven, and the horse paced in the air. And they told Enoch what they had seen. And Enoch said to them, On my account does this horse descend upon the earth. The time is come when I must go from you, and I shall no more be seen by you. And the horse descended at that time and stood before Enoch, and all the sons of men that were with Enoch saw him. And Enoch then again ordered a voice to be proclaimed, saying, Where is the man who delights to know the ways of Yahuwah? Let him come this day to Enoch, before he is taken from us. And all the sons of men assembled and came to Enoch that day. And all the kings of the earth with their princes and counselors remained with him that day. And Enoch then taught the sons of men wisdom and knowledge, and gave them divine instruction. And he bade them serve Yahuwah and walk in his ways all the days of their lives. And he continued to make peace amongst them. And it was after this that he rose up and rode upon the horse, and he went forth, and all the sons of men went after him, about 800,000 men, and they went with him 1 day's journey. And the second day he said to them, Return home to your tents. Why will you go? Perhaps you may die. And some of them went from him, and those that remained went with him 6 days' journey. And Enoch said to them every day, Return to your tents, lest you may die. But they were not willing to return, and they went with him. And on the 6th day some of them remained and clung to him, and they said to him, We will go with you to the place where you go. As Yahuwah lives, death only shall separate us. And they urged so much to go with him that he ceased speaking to them. And they went after him and would not return. And when the kings returned, they caused a census to be taken, in order to know the number of remaining men that went with Enoch. And it was upon the 7th day that Enoch ascended into heaven in a whirlwind, with horses and chariots of fire. And on the 8th day all the kings that had been with Enoch sent to bring back the number of men that were with Enoch, and in that place from which he ascended into heaven. And all those kings went to the place, and they found the earth there filled with snow, and upon the snow were large stones of snow. And one said to the other, Come, let us break through the snow and see. Perhaps the men that remained with Enoch are dead, and are now under the stones of snow. And they searched, but could not find him, for he had ascended into heaven. Hallelujah, hallelujah, Yahuwah. This concludes the reading of the Cepher of Yashar, chapters 1 to 3. Mashbeka, I'm not going to say a lot because I don't want this video to be too long, but I will point out chapter 3, all the chapters were great, but I think what stood out to me the most was chapter 3. It just reminded me of with Enoch going in the very beginning, the first few verses, how he went into a secret place and just took that time to serve Yahuwah, to spend time, to be in his presence. I don't know about you all, especially those of you who have woken up to truth and have been for a while. I know for me, when I first woke up, it was I was definitely in a wilderness place. It was a place of isolation where I, in 1999 became, gave my life and became a Christian, and for 20 years lived a life as a Christian. And ultimately the time of wilderness in 2019 or going into 2020 for about a good couple years, it was a period of wilderness for me. It was isolation, and it was just me and Yah. I had, coming out of Christianity and learning how to walk in truth. There was nobody around me that was doing it. So that time had been a place of, spending time with Yah and unlearning religion or Christianity, religion, and learning truth. And that came by reading his word daily, meditating on it daily, and, reading it from Genesis to Revelation, the traditional Bible, before I got a hold of other books such as the Cepher or the Hallelujah scriptures as a couple examples of, in addition to the Apocrypha, other books that I have read. But end of the day, I read the traditional Bible from beginning to end, chapter by chapter, book by book, did not skip around, wanted to get the whole, wanted to truly understand Yahuwah's word and seek his truth. And I kept praying, Abba, give me eyes to see and ears to hear your truth. And he did that. And so I can totally understand and relate to Enoch, but obviously Enoch was on a whole nother level and spent time with Yah, so much so that and after a period of time he was asked to go teach the sons of men the ways of Yahuwah, and he diligently did so and became very influential in their obedience to Yah, and them coming back and serving Yahuwah again, at least during his time, during his, not only his reign as their king, but they really sought him. They wanted to learn his ways. So I just, there's so much meat in all three of these chapters, and there's even so much more I can even say with chapter 3, but I'm going to leave it at that. If Yahuwah has given you any revelation or insight, please put it in the comments so that the Mashbekar, the family, can glean off of what you have walked away with from this. If you're new to this channel, welcome. Yah bless you. Yah barak you. And I just want you to know, definitely check out the playlist. There's so many books that I have read and put them in the playlist, but like we're reading, in this case, in chapter 3 about Enoch or Enoch. I have the whole book of Enoch in there. I have Torah in there, Deuteronomy or Devarim. There's other prophets you can find in there. I've even have the book of Jubilees or the Cepher of Yashar. So there's so much for you to choose from in between the postings of these readings that I do. And if you haven't already, please share, like, and subscribe. Anea habata, mashpika, I love you, family. Yahuwah barakata, Yahuwah bless you. Shalom.